That time. It's that time. What up, everybody? How are we? Let's see. We should be totally live soon. Yeah, it's happening. Lucy, you want to come hang? Lucy's on her cat tree, just being a cat, catting it up, right? Yeah. All right. Hope everyone is having a wonderful morning / evening / next day / afternoon / lunch / workout session / therapy session. Somebody the other day said in the chat that they are checking this out while they were at therapy, which is pretty neat. I've never had that before. That was a first. So, that was pretty cool. Good morning, Susan. How are you? I hope everything is wonderful for you and wonderful in your world. I hope everybody is doing great. So, breaking news. Let me get over here, add this to the stream. Boom, check that out. This was shared by both Edwin and Tim. Two of you tweeted this at me today because people want to talk about it. Fueled by teachers and average donations of $18. That's even lower than $27. Bernie Sanders raised a record $25.3 million in the third quarter, which is more than any other candidate. Check this out. The presidential campaign of Bernie Sanders announced Tuesday, that's today, that it raised $25.3 million from 1.4 million individual donations in the third quarter of 2019, the largest fundraising corner. It's the largest fundraising corner. It has to take place. He tried to do it in the middle. They wouldn't let him. It is the largest fundraising quarter of any 2020 Democratic White House contender thus far. The billionaire class should be very, very nervous, Sanders tweeted. The working people of this country are ready for a political revolution. The Sanders campaign said the average third quarter donation was just $18. Now, this is interesting, folks. Check this out. Here's the average jobs. Teacher was the most common profession of donors, and Starbucks, Amazon, and Walmart were the most common employers of donors. Maybe it's because he wants to do something about living wages. Amazon, well, first of all, Amazon, he stood with them. So people that work at Amazon, they've seen some results from Bernie Sanders' efforts via movements that Bernie Sanders supported or still supports. And, Walmart, Starbucks. Man, Howard Schultz, how embarrassing does that have to be for Howard Schultz? The guy who had a failed run for president where he just humiliated himself and hurt his own brand. Now he has to see that all the employees of his company were the biggest givers to some other dude. Take that, put that in your coffee, Howard Schultz. Put that in your burnt coffee that you intentionally burned to save money. Howard Schultz became a billionaire through selling coffee-themed milkshakes all over the country. That's all it is. They're coffee-themed milkshakes. That he wants people, hey, buy this coffee-themed milkshake and feel like a grown-up. That's what I'm going for. Starbucks. It worked. But, some folks, they got one great idea, they run with it, and then that's kind of a one and done thing for them. I think it's safe to say Howard Schultz, that's the category he falls into. Hey, I'm going to sell coffee-themed milkshakes everywhere so people can have dessert for breakfast and still feel like an adult. Genius idea. Sold a lot. Made a lot of money. Hey, I think I'm going to run for president. Oh, every idea you have is terrible. Every idea you have, absolutely atrocious and terrible. You're just looking out for your tax bracket. And hey, all your employees are giving money to Bernie Sanders. And this is saying a lot for a number of reasons. First of all, it's really saying that the person who's serious about living wages, the people who need living wages most, are supporting that candidate. That's the obvious. Teachers, people who work at Amazon, people who work at Starbucks, people who work at Walmart. It's almost like these predatory companies aren't helping our economy because overall they ain't. They have terrible ratings with the environment. Amazon, I know for a fact, has an F rating with the environment. They are predators on our environment. They are predators on our neighborhood. They are not paying their workers the living wage. And they are costing our economy. There's been studies done on Walmart. A Walmart hurts your local economy, doesn't help it. It hurts it. And the coffee sucks at Starbucks. as I am drinking not Starbucks coffee right now. But anyway, the other thing that makes this kind of interesting is that there's really nothing, and we're going to do a story kind of on this later today because Mark Zuckerberg had some things to say about Elizabeth Warren, which was kind of interesting. We're going to look into that later. But there's really nothing stopping these employers from trying to persuade their workers how to vote. Walmart has done that in the past, and I'm sure Starbucks has done it. I mean, I'd imagine all these companies do, even if it's in a very subtle way. Like, there's nothing stopping them from encouraging their employees to vote a certain way, or to say things like, oh, if so-and-so gets elected, we're probably going to have layoffs. Stuff like that happens all the time. And there's no protections in this country because we have pretty much no protections when it comes to money in politics, when it comes to corporate influence in politics. There's really no protections from prohibiting something like that from happening. So it happens all the time. So chances are the employees at these large companies are trying to be pushed by their employers to vote the other way. And here they are still given to Bernie Sanders anyway, because the message is cutting through. The message is cutting through that the propaganda that people hear every day on the media and that people hear every day from their employers. So that's saying something. So Bernie Sanders, largest quarter out of any 2020 candidate. But let's get some landline polls saying how he's in trouble again. Let's get some statisticians out there who completely got everything wrong for the past 5 years. And let's hear them say how he's in trouble. Just had the largest quarter out of any candidate. The largest one. Average donation of how much? $18. Pete Buttigieg's having Walmart or Wall Street dinners. Liz Warren's, meeting with the Center for American Progress. Pretty much, Joe Biden's hanging out with Comcast executives. And Bernie Sanders is still beating them. That kind of shows you where the majority actually is. That kind of shows, and that is one thing. That's what Bernie Sanders really did in 2016. Bernie Sanders showed a lot of us throughout the country who were used to never having our point of view represented on the ballot. Or if it is, it's via a candidate who, doesn't really have a shot in the general because they don't have the financial backing that other candidates have, i.e. a Dennis Kucinich in 2008. Bernie showed us, we're not as alone as we thought we were. There's actually more of us than we realize. A lot of people feel this way. A lot of people see other countries where college isn't some recipe to go into debt for the rest of your life and think, why can't we have that? That see other countries that have a universal healthcare system that they take for granted. And we're wondering, why can't we have that? Who think that anybody who works an honest job for 40 hours a week, no matter what that job is, should make a living wage, should make enough money to live. That there's no reason why that shouldn't be the case. Lucy, what do you see? What do you... When she wags her tail, that's because she agrees full-heartedly. That's what that means, I'm pretty sure. Or something's distracting her. So Bernie Sanders, largest fundraising quarter. He's in trouble. I can't wait to see how Nate Silver spins it. Bernie's in a lot of trouble. Turns out he had a big fundraising quarter from people and individuals. He's in trouble. How? I don't know. Wait for the mental gymnastics. Maybe Nate Silver would tell us that it's all from residue. Maybe that's what Nate Silver would tell us. And that's amazing. People who work at companies that are predators, that are not paying living wages, and their employers are probably telling them to do the opposite. They're given to Bernie anyway. We're not some small group like the media tries to tell us. We're actually, to borrow some Democratic establishment terminology, we're actually quite a big tent with people of all different ages and all different backgrounds and all different races and all different religions and all different life experiences. And we know that the status quo in this country needs to change and needs to change desperately. And there's more of us than there are of them. They got the power, but we got the numbers, to paraphrase Jim Morrison. All right, guys. So that's some interesting news here on the campaign trail in 2020. So we had to. I've changed a few things at the show recently, and I have accepted a couple sponsors. It's there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think, but I want you guys to hear from one of our sponsors, and please give them an open mind. I do have a sponsor coming up right now, so please stay tuned. You're going to hear from that sponsor, and then we'll be back to the regularly scheduled show. So please stay tuned for a word from our sponsors. Hi, this is Congressman Adam Schiff. I'm here today to promote my new one-man show, Taking My Time, 'Cause I'm Not Russian. This one-man show is an interpretive dance that includes a full reading of the Mueller report. This 9.5-hour spectacular extravaganza includes a Q&A afterwards and an autographed poster signed by myself and all of your favorite members of the CIA. The reviews have been outstanding. It's been getting 5-star reviews everywhere. There was one negative review in the LA Weekly, but upon further investigation, that reviewer has been determined a Russian asset. They're looking to sow discontent and divide us Americans via negative reviews. In fact, a new study that I paid a lot of money for revealed that negative theater reviews are what cost Hillary the election in 2016. My fellow Americans, do not make the same mistake twice. Come to my show, or else Trump will win. It's been good for me to be back on stage again doing this one-man show. I will occasionally have some comedy performances in the Los Angeles area. My last one, I was going to do a Democratic fundraiser, but they didn't want anything divisive going on, so they told me I could not do any Trump jokes. And I said, no Trump jokes? Wow, that's really Putin a lot of pressure on me. Am I right? Anyway, come to my show. It's at the Burbank Playhouse on October 32nd. That's the day after Halloween. Burbank Playhouse starts at 8 p.m. Be there, or else Trump wins again. And speaking of sowing discontent, back to your regularly scheduled ridiculous show. All right, so that was Adam Schiff. He wanted to do an advertisement on the show. I was a little surprised that he wanted to do that. I thought that was kind of strange, but he reached out to me and he said, "Hey, give me a shot. I got a thing I want to promote." And I said, "Okay." Like, this show is we like to hear from those that we don't always agree with, and so there you go. There's Adam Schiff. So check out his show if you want to. I don't know. I think 9.5 hours. That's kind of long, but you be the judge. So moving on to our next story of the day. Check this out. This is what I was forecasting a little bit earlier. Oh wait, here. Let me add it. There we go. All right, so Mark Zuckerberg, like we just said, Bernie had the largest fundraising quarter out of any 2020 candidate. A lot of his donations came from teachers, and then the other largest employers, Amazon, Starbucks, and Walmart, because those are the people who need living wages. And there's nothing stopping CEOs from persuading their employees how to vote. Like, there's really nothing stopping employers from doing that, and employers do it. We know this happens. We've heard of it before. So Mark Zuckerberg's getting in on this over on Facebook, and apparently Mark Zuckerberg has some fear from Liz Warren. Liz Warren has spoken about breaking up Facebook, Bernie Sanders also has some policy out there that he's talking about. I believe Tulsi Gabbard does as well. But yeah, Mark Zuckerberg, apparently Liz Warren is the one he fears most. Probably because he knows she's the one who the establishment will get behind. But anyway, let's take a look at this. Mark Zuckerberg says a Warren presidency would be an existential threat to Facebook in leaked audio. So this is leaked audio posted from The Verge. We'll read through this. Here's Zuckerberg's quote here. If she gets elected president, then I would bet that we will have a legal challenge, and I would bet that we will win the legal challenge, Zuckerberg said. And does that still suck for us? Yeah. See, he talks all cool because he's a tech bro. I mean, guys, would that still suck for us? Yeah, that would suck. I mean, I don't want to have a major lawsuit against our own government. I mean, that's not a position that you want to be in when you're, I mean, come on, bro. And then he spun his fidget spinner like, yeah, come on, man bun. It's like we care about our country and we want to work with our government to do good things, right? Zuckerberg went on to deem the threat posed by Warren as existential and vowed not to let it go unchallenged. Look, at the end of the day, if someone's going to try to threaten something that's existential, you go to the mat and you fight. Like, yeah. You go and you fight, UFC style. So here's some tweets by Elizabeth Warren that she tweeted today. It looks like the recording of this today, October 1st. Happy 1st of the month, everybody. I hope that paying rent didn't suck too much. I hope that all your bills are in order. I hope that, and dude, we will be talking a lot about horror because it's October and I need to figure out my Halloween costume. Me and my fiance my fiance and I, every October, we go to Netflix and we try to watch as many horror movies as we can. And we started last night. We watched a movie called Green Room. It was designated horror. It wasn't really horror, but it was about this punk band. It was a cool movie. I recommend it, actually. It was this punk band. They go on tour, and they end up playing this neo-Nazi venue, and they don't know it's a neo-Nazi venue. The person who books the show for them says that, it's kind of right-leaning. But it turns out it's a neo-Nazi venue. And anyway, I'll let you see the rest. And it was a good movie. It wasn't really horror. It was more like kind of thriller, suspense. But anyway, all right. So here's some tweets that Liz Warren tweeted that I guess Mark Zuckerberg is alarmed by. What would really suck, she's speaking the cool lingo too, with the fidget spinner. She's probably responding to him. Is if we don't fix a corrupt system that lets giant companies like Facebook engage in illegal anti-competitive practices, stomp on consumer privacy rights, and repeatedly fumble their responsibility to protect our democracy. I agree with that. I'm not afraid to hold big tech companies like Facebook, Google, and Amazon accountable. It's time to break up big tech. I agree with that as well. I full-heartedly agree with that. It's Liz Warren, so I question her sincerity, but I do agree with those sentiments that she uttered. And if Mark Zuckerberg really wanted to work with the government to do good things, you should make your company a public utility. Make your company a public utility. So that would include lawyers who are specialized in free speech issues to apply the laws of free speech to utilities like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Google. If you really wanted to do good, Mark Zuckerberg, you have enough money. You don't need any more. Your employees would still have their jobs. Nobody would lose here. You would still be rich beyond comprehension, and you wouldn't have to lift a finger for the rest of your freaking life. And you could still have some involvement if you wanted to. You would make your company a public utility if you really wanted to. And I know it sounds like I'm being an idealist right now, and maybe in some ways I am, but why? Put yourself in Mark Zuckerberg's shoes. Why not? Why wouldn't you just be like, yeah, this is for the public good. I've made more money than I could ever need in multiple lifetimes. I will never want. My family will never want. Their family's family will never want. Will never need. We'll be fine. We're set. I have so much money. I can just kind of coast and chill for the rest of my life. Yeah, let's make this a public utility. That's what Tom from MySpace did, except he didn't make it a public utility. He sold it to a private entity, so it ruined MySpace. But that's what Tom did. Tom was like, yeah, here you go. I'm good. Tom just travels the world now. MySpace was the best, by the way. MySpace, it was so funny. I was I was at my Jack and Jill wedding shower. And that was out in Massachusetts, and I was with my fiance and her sisters, and I was talking about how I'm not a big fan of Instagram because I just don't enjoy Instagram that much. I'm not all that photogenic. I'm not great at taking pictures. Instagram's just not my cup of tea. And my fiance's sister, my future sister-in-law, said, "What, do you miss MySpace?" And it was intended as a burn, and it was funny. I laughed, but I also was like, yeah, I do miss MySpace. I miss MySpace a ton. MySpace, if you were an artist, MySpace was perfect. You had a blog. You had an ability to list your tour dates. You had a space for audio clips and video clips. You had everything you needed. MySpace, it sucks that MySpace went away. Or, well, it's actually still there. I don't know what it looks like. I don't go to your MySpace today and get freaked out. Hey, it's October. Time to do scary shit. Go visit MySpace. It's the abandoned ghost town of the internet. Check it out. But as somebody, my two meows, points this out on the chat on Periscope, it's called greed. Why doesn't Mark Zuckerberg do something like this? Because of greed. Tom from MySpace did it. I wish Mark Zuckerberg would do it. But Mark Zuckerberg, apparently, Liz Warren is what he's afraid of. And that's kind of interesting. I don't know why he singled out Liz Warren. Why Liz Warren? I mean, Bernie Sanders has talked about antitrust. Bernie Sanders has talked about breaking up big tech. Tulsi Gabbard working on suing Google. So why just Liz Warren? I think it's because he knows she has the blessing of the establishment. Those other candidates don't. So she is who he's worried about the most, because in his circle, she's going to be the nominee. That's what he thinks. Interesting. All right. So we actually got some good news today, guys. Happy Tuesday. We got some good news. We got some positive news. And here's a cool thing that Christina shares. Thank you for sharing this, Christina. This is interesting. Check this out. Sorry, I'm trying to organize the headline here for y'all. More than 40% of millennials have changed their diets because it's better for the environment. All right. A new survey of American millennials found that their relationship to food is more unique than that of the previous generation, as almost 6 in 10 of them currently subscribe to a special diet. Okay. For those who follow a special diet, 44% do so because it's better for the environment, and 37% say it's more ethical. Okay. Results also found that millennials spend approximately $2,200 at the grocery store and approximately $1,700 dining out over the course of the year, averaging $187 and $139 per month. And they also, this is interesting, check this out. Millennials apparently try an average of 46 new foods. I'm a millennial. I don't know if I follow 46. What qualifies a new food? Is it just like an herb or an ingredient? That's a high bar. 46 new foods over the course of a year. I don't know. If it's new dishes, I don't think I do. Man. Do you think you try 46 new foods a year? It depends on what they mean by food. If they mean like random ingredients here and there, I might hit that. I don't know. New dishes. Anyway, that's according to this statistic here. Millennials report making 17 tweaks or changes in their diet per year. I probably do that. So still, not all millennials are choosing to eat out. It's saying millennials eat out a lot, but some are held back from eating out more, often because of a lack of time or lack of money. Well, 42% of millennials report eating healthier when they cook for themselves. Well, that's certainly true. You definitely eat. I don't think that's limited to millennials. I think that applies to anyone. When you cook for yourself, you're pretty much guaranteed you're eating healthier. Unless you count like just going to a juice bar or something like that as eating out, and what you were going to do by yourself is make like macaroni and cheese or something from the box. But restaurants, they enrich their dishes. They're very rich in ingredients. They're very rich so it's usually healthier when you cook for yourself most of the time. Of course, there are exceptions depending on what you're doing out versus what you're doing at home, but you get the idea. Somebody on the Twitter said that, I believe it was Edwin, who said that they are around a lot of the youngest millennials, some of the people who are in college right now, and that they're eating fruit more often than desserts. They're eating fruits and vegetables. They're going through the fruit faster than they ever have before, as opposed to desserts, which, hey, I got to say, I applaud those college students. When I was in college, I was a walking dumpster. I really was. I would just, whatever was cheap and quick and tasty and salty, I just put in my dumb face hole. I would eat sweets. I would eat ramen noodles like it was going out of style. I would eat Kraft macaroni and cheese like it was a food group. It's one of those things like going away to college. That's the first time, or at least in my life, that was like the first time I was ever on my own. But I still had the same eating habits as I did when I was 5. I was trying new things. But when I was at home, I still, a lot of times I didn't have kitchen facilities. The first time I made pasta for a date, because that was how I learned to cook, by the way. I learned to cook by telling a date that I knew how to cook when I didn't, and then having to cash in, having to like hold up on my bluff. They were like, "Oh, you're Italian. Can you cook?" Of course I can. I couldn't, but I said I could. The first time I made pasta for a lady friend, it was this girl I'm still in touch with, actually. We're still friends to this day. But I was like, I can totally cook. That's what I told her. So my family, my dad ran through how to make sauce on the phone with me. And I wrote down the instructions. And I followed them to the T. And I made an excellent sauce. What I didn't realize was that even though the sauce takes hours, and I put like 6 hours of work into this sauce. What I didn't take into account was that doesn't mean that the noodles have to be done very far in advance too. So I made the sauce for 6 hours, and 2 hours before I was ready to serve the meal, I decided I should probably make the pasta now. Dumb move. So what ended up happening, and then I didn't mix the two at all either. I just had one here, noodles here, sauce here. So I had this amazing, delicious sauce that we put on top of rubber. We put on top of rubber. That was once angel hair pasta. That's what we ended up doing. It was still okay, but it was actually, I remember the way the pasta, because I cooked it, and I cooked it way too far in advance. I didn't burn it or anything, but I cooked it way too far in advance. So it just dried out real quick. So to try to fix that, I just poured olive oil on it and stirred it again. So when all was said and done, I had this pasta that you could like stab with a fork. You know what I mean? And it was chewy. It was just this like cluster of spaghetti. It was actually angel hair, and it was just a cluster, and you could just like scoop it out, and it would just be like a mound on your fork. And that was covered in this sauce that was actually quite good. I've gotten better since. But anyway, my point is, hats off to those college students if they are eating healthier. So that's an interesting study. I also find that interesting that they say millennials don't eat out as much because of lack of time. Now, in Los Angeles, and I feel like this is applicable to a lot of people, I actually eat out more often because of a lack of time. Because sometimes you don't have time to cook for yourself because you're running to different things. Maybe I have a meeting somewhere. Maybe I have an appointment somewhere. Maybe I have a studio session somewhere. Maybe I have an audition somewhere else, and then I have a show at night. So I'm kind of running back and forth, and I have a couple hours of spare time. So for me, it's like, well, I don't have time to go home and cook. Or if I do have time to go home, I just got to shower and get changed. I don't have time to cook. So I end up eating out more often because of lack of time. So that's interesting. But this is a cool statistic. More millennials are being mindful of their diets. Again, that statistic is more than 40% are being mindful of their diets, doing special diets for the sake of the environment. Cool. And Christina, thank you for sharing that. That's a little bit of good news. Here is another piece of good news that I am very excited to share with you guys. I am so stoked to share this news because this is big deal. This is a big deal for net neutrality. You guys know that I'm a huge net neutrality advocate. I'm a huge advocate for municipal broadband. Net neutrality is the policy that protects a free and open internet. Without net neutrality, internet service providers like Comcast and AT&T can dictate what we see and hear on the internet. They can carve the internet up and make it look like cable television 2.0, where we can't have access to certain sites, and they can allow certain sites to load faster than others, certain content creators to have priority over others. It would squash independent media. It would squash shows like this. It would squash the internet as we know it. So what happened when we lost net neutrality in 2017, and I know those of you who tune into the show regularly, you've been following this along with me, but What's happened since we lost net neutrality in 2017, states have rallied and they have put forth their own net neutrality legislation. California, where I live, we've done this. New York has done something similar, Vermont, and the FCC is suing all those states. Well, guess what the court decided? This is good news, guys. Net neutrality rules could return at state level under mixed U.S. court decision. All right. Net neutrality laws could return at the state level after a U.S. court ruled on Tuesday that the Trump administration cannot block states from passing their own net neutrality laws, but largely upheld the 2017 repeal of the landmark rules, barring internet service providers from blocking or throttling traffic or offering paid fast lanes. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia said the FCC erred when it declared that states cannot pass their own net neutrality laws and ordered the agency to review some of the key aspects of its 2017 repeal of rules set by the Obama administration. But it left open the possibility the FCC could seek to block state efforts on a case-by-case basis. The court also found that the FCC acted properly when it overturned a 2015 decision that had classified broadband internet as a utility-style service that handed the FCC sweeping authority to regulate it and instead classified it as a less regulated information service. So that ruling sucks. That part is bad. The fact that they said, oh, the FCC was fine in overturning net neutrality. Now, and this is all a matter of interpretation. What the court just said here is they said that the internet is an information service, not a telecommunications service. So Title II designation, which is what we got on the books during the Obama administration. Title II, by the way, does not give the FCC control of the internet. That's not what it does. What it does is it designates the internet a utility, and that utility has to flow like running water or like a telephone call. That's what, and it's because that service is so essential in our life, it needs to be treated like a utility, like running water. That's what Title II does. One can certainly argue that the internet, given how prominent it is in our lives, think about everything you use the internet for. Is everything coming to your mind? Mine too. So it should be designated a utility. What the court said is, no, it's an information service like TV or like radio. And that's a Title I designation. When I think about prominent essential services in my life, I think of cable television and the internet right on the same playing field. Don't you? Don't you think like, man, where would I be without my 50 channels of nothing? Where would I be without that? If I had to pick between that or the internet, I don't know. It'd be a tough call. Or the radio. The radio. Where would I be without 20 stations playing the same song at the same time? And Sean Hannity 24 hours a day. Where would I be without that? I'd go crazy. Certainly, the court got it right on that part. They got it right on the part that the internet should totally just be an information service. It is right on a plane with radio or TV. Whenever someone makes that argument to you that the internet is an information service, be like, okay, really? Is the internet on the same plane for you as radio or television? In your life, without radio, could you order all the things that you have that are essential in your life? Could you be a consumer just using radio? All the 800 numbers you could just go ahead and call? How about television? Are those infomercials all you need? Or do you use the internet to buy products you need, to get services you need, to make appointments? Really? You want to say the internet's just an information service? Well, that's what the court said, and they got that part wrong. What they got right, though, was saying that states can make their own net neutrality rules. That's the big victory. So this is a victory with still some kind of reasons to not be so happy, as most victories are. All right, let's see what else is going on in this article. All right, so Ajit Pai, of course, is happy about the decision of them upholding the repeal. Now, a senior FCC official told reporters at a conference call that the decision is not a green light for states to pass any internet rules they want, and said the FCC has not decided whether to appeal portions of the decision. California adopted sweeping net neutrality protections in October 2018, but agreed not to enforce the measure pending the court challenge. California Attorney General Xavier Becerra said the decision blocks the FCC's effort to preempt state net neutrality laws through regulations. So basically what's going on here, the court said you cannot stop states from passing their own net neutrality laws. That's a good thing. But the FCC could address certain things in the law and try to push back on that. I'll give a for instance, and this will likely happen. In California's net neutrality bill, they reinstate all the net neutrality protections that we had in 2015. That's what the California net neutrality bill does. It also has a zero rating part there. What that means is that certain internet service providers, if you use their video service, their streaming service, it doesn't go against your data cap. That wasn't part of the original net neutrality bill. California added that. It's a great addition because what that does, a lot of these mergers that we're seeing is because the corporate media wants to dominate the streaming landscape. And having a zero rating policy that they can sell to consumers helps them do that. So having a policy prohibiting that, like California's net neutrality bill does, that's a good thing. But that's something that the FCC could go after, saying, well, you can't do that. And the FCC might win in a scenario like that. They might not. I don't know. I'm just saying that's something they could go after, something particular to the bill. But what they can't do, and that's the good news part, they can't stop states from having their own net neutrality laws. So that's a good thing. That's a victory. The fact that they're cool with the repeal itself, that's not a victory. But we kind of knew with a conservative-leaning court, with a court that has a friendly relationship with the big cable lobby, that was likely going to happen. And when I say big cable lobby, I mean the ISP side of it, the Comcast, the AT&Ts. So this is good news. This is good news. This means we have power at the state level, which is good because if California and New York go through with their net neutrality bills and they pass, then we're pretty much safe for the foreseeable future because right there, you got pretty much 43% of all the customer base. So these ISPs, internet service providers, your AT&Ts, your Comcast, they're not going to unroll anti-net neutrality packages and force them on consumers because they're not going to be able to enroll those packages in New York. They're not going to be able to unroll those packages in California. So for them, they're just kind of stuck, not being able to be as criminal as they want to be. They can still be criminal. They still have an organized duopoly that shouldn't be legal on any level, but they can't do it as much when it comes to gutting net neutrality. See what I'm saying? So this is good news, could be better news, but overall good news. And we need to hold the line on state level net neutrality here in California. We should be tweeting in fact, you know what? I'm going to tweet Newsom right now. I'm going to tweet Newsom right now. First, I got to find him. Here we go. Now that, and I'm putting a period next to it so everyone sees it. Now that the court has ruled that states can have their own net neutrality protections, I hope that California will move forward with the net neutrality bill that already passed. Please show your support. Show that tweet some love if you are so inclined. All right. So some good news, could be even better news, but good news nonetheless. We'll take the win. All right. So that's happening. Net neutrality updated. And you know what ends this fight once and for all, by the way? Municipal broadband all across the country. You know what? At once and for all. If we just get municipal broadband all across the country, that will end this once and for all. Okay, so Joseph shares this. This is from Joseph, and Joseph asks, would I vote for this person? So let's go here. We'll end this story. This will be the last story, and then I'll go to the chat. I'll see what you guys are saying. Jesse Ventura is considering a run for president as an independent. So former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura, I've been on his show, according to Jesse before, by the way, said Saturday that he is considering a presidential run in 2020 as an independent. I have that voice in the back of my head that says to me, if not me, then who? Here, I'll try to do. I have that voice in the back of my head that says to me, if not me, then who? Ventura followed up by criticizing President Trump for avoiding the Vietnam War draft. This guy who claims to have had bone spurs got out of the Vietnam War because of it. He couldn't even do one day of boot camp to be a private. Ventura was elected governor of Minnesota in 1998, running as a member of the Reform Party. He left that party in 2000 to join the Independence Party of Minnesota. Now, of course, the Hill can't resist mentioning Ventura, who has a program on Russia Today. They couldn't resist mentioning that part. Floated the possibility of running for president as a libertarian in 2016, but ultimately did not do so. Last November, he told TMZ he might run in 2020 as a member of the Green Party. If I do it, Trump will not have a chance, Ventura said. For one, Trump knows wrestling. He participated in 2 WrestleManias. He knows he can never out-talk a wrestler, and he knows I'm the greatest talking wrestling's ever had. I'm the greatest talker wrestling's ever had. So would I vote for Jesse Ventura? I would certainly consider it. Absolutely. I'm not just going to vote blue no matter who. I'm not going to do that. So it depends on who the nominee is. Over on the green side of the coin, I don't know a ton about Howie Hawkins. I'm still kind of learning about him. What I've seen so far, some of the stuff I've seen so far, rather. I mean, platform-wise, there's a lot about him I like, but some of the stuff I've seen from him, I'm not thrilled with. Again, I'm still, looking into that. So I guess my point is I would certainly consider voting for a Jesse Ventura, depending on who the other options are. I'm not just going to vote for a Democrat for the sake of voting for a Democrat. It has to be somebody that I want to vote for. I don't want to just vote against Trump. I want to actually vote for something. So I would certainly consider voting for Jesse Ventura. What about you guys? Would you guys vote for Jesse Ventura? Let me know. Would you guys vote for Jesse Ventura? Guys, first of all, I appreciate you guys opening your mind and your hearts to Adam Schiff's show. I mean, I'm not saying you have to go or you don't have to go. Do you? But, he said his piece. Consider it. Let's see. Apocalypse is here. Are you pro-Trump, Ron? Absolutely not. Apocalypse is here. Absolutely not. Okay. Kabuto, thank you for the super chat contribution. Your friend Jimmy vowed not to donate to Bernie. He has to post a single critical video of Tulsi on his YouTube channel. Are you guys aware of this? Am I aware of what? Am I aware that Jimmy is vowing not to vote to Bernie Sanders? I don't recall him saying that ever. It's not my business who he does or doesn't donate to. That's his business. I don't care at all. I donated to Bernie Sanders. I've been totally transparent about that. I've given to Bernie Sanders. I've given to Tulsi Gabbard. I've given to Mike Revelle. And there's only one person I'm responsible for as far as donations are concerned, myself. I don't care who anyone else does or doesn't give to. Why is that my business? It's not my business. Let's see. Jennifer would only vote for Bernie. Life would consider Jesse. Let's see. Karen would vote for Jesse. Let's see. Tom says Jesse has some nutty things too. He entertains the idea that a laser beam weapon destroyed the Twin Towers on 9/11. So for Tom, he's off the list. I'm not familiar with Jesse saying that. I don't know. But that's what Tom says in the chat. All right, cool. Guys, tour dates, I got them. Australia, we're coming. I'm so excited. It's coming. Do not wait. Get your tickets now. Australia, we're coming. We're coming to Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide. That's happening in the middle of November. Please get your tickets now, ronplacone.com. Also, we're doing some Southern California stuff in December to get ready for our 2020 tour. That's Grandma Wood and myself. December 13th, we are coming to Ventura Harbor Comedy Club. December 14th, we're going to be right in our backyard in Los Angeles, California at the Sycamore Tavern, the Dojo of Comedy. Get your tickets now. In 2020, some tickets are already available. February, we're going to be in Tucson, Arizona, February 8th. Tickets are available for that now. March, Orlando, Florida, March 12th. Tickets are available for that now. April 10th, I'm going to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Tickets are available for that now. April 24th, Seattle, Washington. April 25th, Portland, Oregon. And those are Progressive Comedy Tour shows. Get your tickets now at ronplacone.com. And by the way, there's going to be more dates around those times, by the way. We're going to be in the area more. Like right now, only tickets for Orlando are available, but we will be doing more dates in Florida around that time. We just haven't confirmed it, and tickets aren't available quite yet. But keep an eye out, ronplacone.com. If you want to support this show on the sustainability end, please do consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/ronplacone. For a give what you can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content. You get a patrons-only stream once a week. Yeah, it's fun. And you help me expand the show. I want to do more segments. I want to do more interviews. You also get full stand-up clips not available anywhere else. You get my album, it's in entirety, and you get dialogues between me and my cat, Lucy, who's chilling on the couch. Ron, you're coming to Orlando? Cool. What venue? It's called Magnolia Orlando. We'll have to check it out. Well, Freethinker 59 tickets are available at ronplacone.com. Check it out now. Yeah. All right. So, guys, thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you so much for tweeting me some amazing articles, dropping them in our Reddit subsection. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, right here on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook or Twitch, wherever it is you're watching this. You get the idea. I meant to say you get the drill, and I said idea and drill at the same time, and it came out you get the drill. You get the idea. In the meantime, you know how it goes. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.